It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the man. It's Topic Thunder. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what we affectionately refer to as the Internet Saloon. And we welcome you in to have a seat as we kind of pour topics and sling them across the bar. And by we, I mean, of course, myself. I'm Brooks. That's Ben. And folks, you're in the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Thunderdome. Bolts to the brain, absolutely, all kinds of bolts, thunderbolts to the brain specifically, and it's kind of not a bad thing. Maybe that's going to charge up because let's be honest, your brain is kind of like a sponge full of chemicals and electrodes, basically. So
when you break it down, yeah,
crudely, I would. Everybody with a medical degree is going,
yeah,
okay,
technically, yeah.
But that's what we sling around here, just like, just street level talk. We bring it to you live from Chicago and from Western Texas at the same time. Thanks to
technology, yes.
Yeah, and we celebrate that here. If you're not familiar with the show, we kind of talk about a lot of things. That's what Topic Thunder is about.
Spray into all fields, baby.
Man, we try, and I think we got a good show lined up for you here on Wednesdays, our new home, Ben.
Yes, Wednesdays. I'm digging Wednesdays. It feels good. I feel much more ready to go on a Wednesday than a Monday.
I think it does for prep wise. I was able to okay at the weekend, because then you kind of need to recover from the weekend, because Monday is the first day after the weekend back to work.
Right,
all that malarkey.
Back to work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that. So you're kind of miserable when you get home from work on a Monday. You're like, man, there's so much shit I didn't do over the weekend or whatever. I need a day from the weekend to whatever. The 4-day week. We've talked about the 4-day work week on this show quite a bit, folks. Studies continue to show, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Not this week, which, by the way, this is episode number 91. If you're keeping score at home,
Dan F. and Brooks in the house.
Dan F. and Brooks is in the house. And Chris is here. We got a story coming up.
After last week, she was at Iron Maiden last week.
She went
back this week.
Irons up, Chris. Gigi and I took Gigi to our first live pro wrestling event, Ben.
Yes.
And it was in Wisconsin. So when you go to Wisconsin,
double whammy.
Oh, Kenosha too. It's a lovely town, right?
Oh man. So Gigi really got the whole experience, because Wisconsin wrestling fans are quite possibly the worst human beings on the planet.
It's a special breed up there for sure.
Yes. Yeah, you done her wrong. Exactly. That was not the way for her to be baptized, if you will.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna have this discussion, because I will. My dad says hi to Courtney. Hey, that's pretty cool. Look at the community. Anyway, welcome, folks. We're gonna get totally naked on the show here. This is a New Glarus beer. You can only buy this in Wisconsin. They do not ship outside of Wisconsin at all on purpose. It's actually an employee-owned company, so look up the company. They do a lot of good. There's a lot of they're legit, and it's a damn fine company. They're famous for their Spotted Cow beer, but this is. Yeah, and they have the little label down here at the bottom, which usually tells you what kind of beer it is, and it's ale or lager or whatever. And I just want to point out, all they say down here for the description is beer.
It's just generic.
That's it.
What this is beer.
So here is to you, ladies and gentlemen. And I disagree with I can't argue against the Wisconsin wrestling fan, but she had never been to the Mars Cheese Castle before, right? So you have to take somebody there, right, just to see the splendor that is. also, the show was a little bit of a reunion of some friends and some warriors of the road from long ago. So it was a really good kind of like I think bridge into that. It wasn't the best, absolutely not. Like
Right.
it was a really good show. I thought it hit all the notes that an independent show should, including my favorite. I have a new favorite pro wrestler, Ben.
Oh yeah, who's that?
His name is Dr. X. Now,
Okay.
he was a very large fellow, looked a little bit on the older side, had still that like, you could tell he was a bigger dude at one point, but still had clearly still hitting the gym regularly. Wore like kind of like a black singlet with a black kind of Mr. Wrestling mask.
Okay.
Right. And just came out in it was kind of like a 6-man scramble. And clearly not highlighted in the scramble, came in, did some hot spots, including a favorite of mine. I legit popped for this, which was it was a spot where one dude jumped out onto 2 guys, and then another guy did a tope out the rope to the 3 guys, and Dr. X like wound up like he was going to be the 4th guy to do it, and ran up to the 3rd rope, stopped, and just did. I was like, yes, yes. It may have been a coincidence that Tugboat was also at the show, but I don't know. I've never seen Clark Kent and Superman in the same room at the same time, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying.
True that. Gigi in the comments said she got to see Brooks in the ring, which was pretty awesome. She says.
She got into the ring. We asked a special favor because that's what you do you respectfully after the show. And it was really cool because local tag team specialist, Dr. Jeff Luxon, was able to bring his entire family into the ring. It was kind of like a family affair reunion. There was a lot of Blitz pro wrestling alums there. There was a lot of LWF alums there. So it was kind of cool. Vic Capri was there, although he didn't wrestle. Steve Boz was there. So it was it hit all the notes, I think.
So Gigi was talking about seeing Brooks in a ring, and I couldn't help myself.
Damn it. You're good at this. Oh man.
Watch Mike Brooks get smashed like a fucking.
She loves those
like
pants.
A pancake.
First title shot.
Much less hair. You don't have nearly the hair that you had the last
fat. My God, I was thin.
He's calling his rodent, and Brooks back on his feet.
I criticize
this
spot all the time.
You criticize it? I think it's really clever and really cool, actually.
No.
Smash. That's awesome. And the crowd pop. Come on. Yeah, the way to get into that was really cool and inventive. You criticized that?
Oh no, just the way that when I bounced into him. But now I seen it again. I realized why I couldn't like leave. I couldn't like bump. Not only was there a chair right there, that would have clearly split my skull upon.
Yes.
But I need
the LW vault, by the way.
Oh yeah, and I need LW forever. Absolutely, Dan Effenbrooks, who was at a couple of the shows in the Lamont Dome. We you know what, Ben, we've taken too much time talking about the pro wrestling. Yeah, and don't ever think that that's why I don't have lower back issues that I don't ever mention except on a podcast right now. Hi everybody, welcome to the world's most cleverly named segment of any podcast ever. It's even better than the mailbag if they did like viewer mail. This is called Headlines, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a lot to talk about, although we've condensed it. Just got a lot of things to talk about. Let's just put it like that. A lot's happened since last Wednesday, and we like to cover that. And of course, we made a promise that we were going to pay very special attention to what is going on in Iran right now. And that is not wavering, ladies and gentlemen, because again, you have to dig to find stories about this. It's not on the surface. It's not on page 1, 2, or 3. You do have to go a little bit beyond the headlines to find out more about what's going on over there. And it's not good. if you're a woman. Flat out.
Ridiculous.
We and what we're gonna show you right now is that school children were being arrested inside school premises. This is according to the Guardian, our good friends. This was just this last Sunday by security forces arriving in vans without license plates, according to social media reports emerging from the country as protests against the regime that entered their fourth week. The authorities also shut down all schools and higher education institutions in Iranian Kurdistan on Sunday, a sign that the state remains concerned about the descent after weeks of protest over the death of Masha. I've also heard Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman who, of course, we've talked about, who was murdered or died in custody of the morality police for improperly wearing her hijab. This is now
the morality police. Jesus.
And it's as brutal and as sick and twisted as you can possibly think it is just by hearing morality police, right? Yeah. This is the almost now, it's coming up on, I think, on 40 years of the Ayatollah's reign, the clerical takeover, secular or takeover of Iran. And the next story from El Monitor, I think we've never hit a story like this before, but it's just kind of backing up what we've been talking about. The average age of arrested protesters is 15, Ben.
Holy shit.
So this kind of puts things into a little bit of more perspective, right? It's not necessarily, older women or middle-aged women getting out in the streets and being taken. Again, we mentioned vans without license plates going Lord knows where. And I'm sure they're keeping track of everybody they take. But according to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the people doing this is them reporting this. So today, the average age of the arrests from the protests is 15. That average age.
Yeah, exactly. So that means there's plenty that are younger, if that's the average.
Because there's plenty that are older, and we've talked about the scarcity of video coming out because of the lockdowns on social media and the internet in general in Iran. And it basically stuff has to get out through a VPN or a real quick Wi-Fi spot, which I'm sure they kind of triangulate and zone in on because that's a fantastic use of resources. We do have some hope on the front of at least bringing more attention to what is going on here, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, Biz. I saw Biz today, and I wanted to at a work function, which he was looking very spiffy and did a fantastic job as kind of like a host for a very important function where we both work. It was fantastic to see him again. But yeah, Biz is half Iranian, so he has family there, and it's very, very stupid, scary what's going on because there's just a blackout of any kind of communication.
You have no idea. Yeah.
Right. And for even people that were just kind of going about their day and that, what everybody wants to do. We talk about it on the show. This is what everybody wants to do in their life. Just let me live my life. And that's a blessing and a curse, right? Because that could be blinders to some terrible things, or that could be an eye-opening experience to see what other people are going through. But I feel for everything that's going on over there. Again, now this is what the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps says. They claim the youths are being encouraged by social media and foreign media to, quote, sacrifice themselves in the protest. It's kind of funny because this is the same regime that encouraged people to strap bombs to their chests rather than their targets and enemies. No lie. Just check out what Hezbollah does. And I'm not trying to wade into the Israel-Palestine thing because I can call out on both sides. And I'm willing to call out Hezbollah on that, which is directly supported by the Iranian regime right now. So there is some hope on the front coming to get some more recognition for what's going on. There's a very famous Iranian protest song. I'm not going to say this right. Bar A by Shervin
Yeah, I have
Hajipur.
no idea.
Yeah, right. I had to find this on my scrolling through the various websites that I do to get some news. But I found this and I was like, that is at least symbolic, right? 95,000 Grammy submissions. Could you imagine if this gets Song of the Year, or at
That'd be
least?
crazy. Yeah.
Well, I went out and I found it. So that next link is the Iranian. Now, children are singing this song in school. People are singing these lyrics and this song in the streets. This has been basically a new national anthem
That's cool.
to this revolution. So I thought we'd take 2 minutes and 12 seconds of everybody's time and present this to you.
برای توی کوچه رقصیدن، برای ترسیدن به وقت بوسیدن، برای خواهرم، خواهرت، خواهرامون، برای تغییر مغزها که پوسیدن، برای شرمندگی، برای بیپولی، برای حسرت یک زندگی معمولی، برای کودک زبالگرد و آرزوهاش، برای این اقتصاد دستوری، برای این هوای آلوده، برای ولیعصر و درختای فرسوده، برای پیروز و احتمال انقراضش، برای سگهای بیگناه ممنوعه، برای گریه های بیوقفه، برای تصویر تکرار این لحظه، برای چهره ای که میخنده، برای دانش آموزا، برای آینده، برای این بهشت اجباری، برای نخبه های زندانی، برای کودکان افغانی، برای این همه، برای غیر تکراری، برای این همه شعارهای تو خالی، برای آوار خونه های پوشالی، برای احساس آرامش، برای خورشید پس از شبای طولانی، برای روزهای عصاب و بیخوابی، برای مرد میهن آبادی، برای دختری که آرزو داشت پسر بود، برای زن زندگی آزادی، برای آزادی، برای آزادی، برای آزادی.
The man was actually indeed arrested, and I don't think they exactly know his whereabouts right now. But that song has become a very haunting anthem for this entire revolution. So we stand in solidarity with the women of Iran, no matter how old you are. Women, life, beauty, freedom. I think we should all share that and search it out. Share it on your social media. Let's try to let people know what's really going on over there, because it's a terrible thing that's happening, and we need that feminine energy to help balance out what is becoming a very heavily toxic male society. We need that compassion that only true, like mothers, sisters, wives can provide. So I guess I've stumbled a little emotionally into that. So let's talk about a little more clown fuckery. Why don't we? Because this guy is certainly proving, and this is what I was clumsily trying to hint at, I think, last week. But we got some problems with Mr. Musk, and it goes beyond all the allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse in his life.
Right. And yeah, the stealing of all the ideas and all that. Yeah.
Right. He apparently has blocked Ukraine from using the Starlink in Crimea over concerns that Vladimir Putin could use a nuclear weapon, a political analyst has said. And this is coming from Business Insider. Again, let's just kind of rewind and discuss a little background to this. Elon Musk, kind of halfway through the invasion of, it was probably early spring, probably like April-ish, donated, I think, about 80 satellites of his Starlink network to providing internet to Ukraine. And
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
the Ukrainians have proven to be very resourceful. They've used that then to everything from communications, obviously keeping government systems going, military communications, but also using satellite and reconnaissance drones linked to that to use to then target things, where strike drones have they've been very creative. And we're not going to talk about it in at large, but we all saw that bridge in linking Russia to Crimea go bye-bye.
Yeah, and the retaliation was pretty fucking swift and heavy-handed, man. I was watching it on the news. They bombed, what was it? Is it Kiev? Is that how you say it?
So
Kyiv.
yeah, so here's a really interesting note, right?
At rush hour, in morning rush hour,
Play
they strategically bombed civilian areas during rush hour.
also a city in western Ukraine called Lviv, Lviv. Again, targeting infrastructure, power. Yeah, I didn't mean to make this segment or topic about Ukraine specifically. I wanted to point out what we were talking about last week about Elon Musk having maybe a little bit too much sway and control over, possibly the internet with Twitter. First of all, and we were just talking about how the only information we're getting out of Iran right now is largely coming from Twitter right now. And imagine if somebody who had interests in not seeing any of that could flip that switch, right?
That is a big deal, man. And it is something to keep our eye on for sure.
And speaking,
there's something more nefarious possibly going on underneath all.
And speaking of flipping that switch, Elon Musk's wonderful Starlink system, while he denied using it in Crimea because apparently somebody told him Vladimir Putin will launch nuclear weapons if he does provide internet to Crimea. Okay. Who told you that? Did you have a conversation? I don't know. Somebody that he just called V? I don't know. Did he address himself as Mr. P? I don't know.
And he told you personally? Yeah.
Was I would imagine, okay, you're the alleged richest man in the world, but
although that doesn't sound like Putin's style. He doesn't personally pick up that phone and call Elon Musk. He has a guy who does that shit for him.
Not if you're trying to entertain the whims of the world's most rich man who's about to buy the world's biggest media, or at least social media influencer, and a guy who's proven to have narcissistic tendencies, and you could praise the living hell out of and probably get him to go, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You know,
I guess that would be the special touch, right? That would get you what you need.
Right? You'd feel important, like you're just a citizen. You're just Elon Musk, and here's the president of the Russian Federation calling you a strategic mastermind as far as the manipulation of people go, not necessarily an invasion.
Yeah, arguably one of the most powerful people on the planet right now.
And you can
personally reaching out
and making you feel like you're just one of the boys, right? Does Elon Musk seem like he'd be like, yeah, ethically, this isn't correct? No. Elon Musk takes that call.
Yeah, he does not. Yeah.
He takes that call.
Ethics are not in his vocabulary.
Yeah, a flip phone arrives in a FedEx box that you know what I mean? There's a time on it that's with one phone number in the memory, and that's it. And it's like the phone burns up after use, real Mission Impossible shit. But yeah, let me
Courtney does raise a good question though. Who does Elon consult on this type of stuff? Like, does he have a guy he talks to? I wonder. Like, we don't know. It hasn't ever really been like revealed. Like he has like a guy that he goes to for advice. So it would be interesting to see. Like, does he just make these decisions on his own, or does he bounce ideas off somebody? Is he Vince McMahon, or is he like Vince Russo?
This is a Vince McMahon. And he has a bunch, probably, if he has people around him at this point, he's probably got yes people around him.
Right.
Right. He's got people that are just looking out for their jobs because they're sweet and making it and worried, just feeding him just ego massaging things like this is great. No, absolutely. You're a out of touch 50-year-old something that never really did anything and is kind of like has this weird like imposter syndrome narcissistic thing going on. And no, it doesn't work like that. I don't think he does, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think he kind of sits on a throne alone. And if he does, like, I think the board of Tesla has threatened to sue him like a handful of times, like for getting out of line when he smoked that joint on the Rogan podcast. Like they were like, what? They sanctioned him. I think they fined him. They threatened to blah, 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 blah. So I think there are people that are around him in an outer circle that are like,
yeah.
wait,
Whoa.
you can't do this. You can't say that. But I think on the inner circle, everybody's kind of doing the whole like Elvis thing, like anything you want, like literally, Elon, anything you want, But we mentioned flipping a switch, right? I want to read this last thing about the Elon Musk thing. We're going to move on to something a little more wet. Recently, wet. Recently, this is again from Business Insider. I'm not trying to make light of this because I think this is really important. Recently, there have been problems, and this is in reference to the Starlink internet network. Last week, senior Ukrainian government officials told Financial Times that the service was suffering, quote, catastrophic, end quote, outages on the front lines, prompting speculation that it had been shut off in areas controlled by Russia, perhaps to prevent the Kremlin from exploiting the network. On Twitter, Musk said he could not comment on battlefield conditions, saying that's classified. Kind of spotty, kind of, again, the idea that one dude has this power to not only affect an active battlefield, but again, on the verge of taking over Twitter, the internet's town hall, where influences are we barely scratch the surface and just briefly mention like all the bots on Twitter, and the bot factories that are out there, all the AI like generating like overlaying like 10,000 pictures to make one composite picture, and then that's the fake profile picture, right? We've briefly mentioned that, but that's a thing that happens. That is legit. That is, you and I, Ben, right now, if we wanted to, could go to a company and buy 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 Twitter followers if we wanted.
Right. Just fake profiles.
And they would retweet everything that we put out there. They would like everything, so the algorithms cycles us a little bit higher than everything. That's a legitimate business.
Why are we not doing that?
I don't know. I don't want to take over the world. I don't know.
We should start looking into that.
All right, everybody, let's get a bunch of fake Twitter followers. Why not? I mean, sure.
Why not?
I mean,
right?
we could all tweet at, I don't know, Coach. I don't know. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, just something much scarier. I don't know if this is ELE or not, but it's still kind of scary.
Not yet.
Okay, I won't hit the button because I know Courtney gets mad if I hit the music.
Oh, I got a couple now, so we're gonna be ducking and weaving on this one because I got a couple for you on this one, Ben. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's a fresh warning as experts say the Pacific Ocean is closing off to form a new supercontinent.
What?
Oh, hell yeah! Check it out. Literally, when we talk about like the plates, the tectonic plates that cause the Ring of Fire. Apparently, Americas are on a collision course with Asia, and there's nothing we can do to stop it.
Oh, good.
Nothing. Absolutely not. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but they actually have a name for the new supercontinent. No, it's not Pangea adjacent. It's called Amasia. They have a name for this impending doom. Now, I don't want to get anybody too panicked, I guess, because they're not expecting this thing to happen for another 200 to 300 million years.
Oh, okay. So we don't have to worry about it.
I mean, I don't know. The shit can get weird, Ben. Cthulhu just comes out of nowhere.
That does sound like a drag queen name.
Amasia. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw her at oh god, I can't think of it. God, I can't. Jeez, where
By the
was
way,
it?
Courtney, that sounds amazing. But
Hey, yeah. So be on the lookout as continents collide.
I always thought it was incredibly interesting. Like, and not enough attention is paid, I should say, to the idea that at one time, all of the land masses basically fit together like a puzzle. And they just broke apart over millions of years and have spaced out to a point where you have to fly between them to get to them. I think that's it's just amazing that this planet has been around that long, and that, like, what the fuck caused that to happen? Like, why did it break apart? Why did all the land masses break apart so significantly? Like, what caused that? There's not enough. Maybe it's because it's already been figured out. I don't know, and I just haven't read it. But it just feels like we should be paying more attention to the fact that, at one time all the land masses were basically together.
Apparently, it's part of a cycle. As later on in the story, Chuan Huang from Curtin's Earth Dynamics Research Group says a supercontinent is due to form every couple 100 million years. He said, quote, "Over the past 2 billion years, Earth's continents have collided together to form a supercontinent every 600 million years, known as the supercontinent cycle. This means that the current continents are due to come together again in a couple 100 million years' time. Get your popcorn ready." But yes, it's an active planet. That's one of the reasons we're able to sustain life, is that we have a hot molten core with like pieces of stuff moving around, and that's literally, we're floating on this hot molten core, and these different pieces of land are just kind of like roving around each other, and it has a hot molten core.
It is fucking frightening to think about.
We don't have to worry about other shit. We don't have to worry about like crime. We don't have to worry about like nations.
Like, it makes crime and shit like that feel real insignificant when you understand that we are on a landmass that is floating on super fucking hot magma that could destroy, if it leaked out of the earth, would literally destroy everything in its path. But we're worried about fucking jaywalkers
or
marijuana possession,
or lines in sand, and because you're a different
or
color,
yeah, exactly,
like, right,
yeah, arbitrary lines on fucking land that if you cross it, you've committed a crime. We're worried about that when there is hot magma. It's just all underneath us right now.
Molten core.
We're fucked if it comes out. And we're worried about fucking illegal immigrants. Fuck out of here.
Well, we've entered that part of the show where I begin to bring to you some other things to worry about and consider. But sometimes we have good news, Ben.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is something right up your alley, man. To kind of bring you up from the threats of the hot molten core. Ben, I actually want you to kind of take a look at this. And ketamine has shown to reduce depression symptoms within hours.
Yeah.
This has been something I know that you take a lot of pride in knowing a lot about how the pharmaceutical industry has absolutely kind of kidnapped everything that any kind of other substance, controlled or not, might have a benefit for. But most antidepressants take 3 to 4 weeks to take effect, while the studies consistently show that ketamine works within hours. However, the mechanism which makes the drug work is still unclear. Researchers now from Paris Brain Institute, that sounds serious.
Yeah, I bet those people are super fucking nerdy.
Man, if you think Parisians were uptight, think about if they work at the Brain Institute. They've discovered one answer that explains ketamine's lightning-fast course of action. Close to a third of depression patients don't respond well to conventional therapies, with doctors classifying them as having treatment-resistant depression, TRD. Mental health issues can be aggressive, which makes finding effective treatments population absolutely imperative. To explore this, researchers have conducted their clinical study with 26 TRD patients and 30 healthy controls. Both patients and healthy participants had to estimate the probability of 40 negative events that could possibly occur in their lives, such as getting into a car accident, having a doctor diagnose them with cancer, or misplacing their wallet. So basically give us 40 bad things that can happen to you. Study authors then reveal the risks associated with each event occurring relative to the general population to each participant. So they kind of leveled it. Like, what would happen if somebody stole your wallet? Oh my God, I'd have to go get my credit cards canceled. I'd have to get a new ID. Car accident, right? It kind of go exploring that. After, the team posed the same questions to them in order to see how their thoughts changed when presented with statistics. The results show that the receiving information to help put things in perspective, the healthy participants changed their answers to reflect more realistic outcomes. Unfortunately, the answers from the depressed patients did not show this trend. So, in the light of not being being presented information that refuted the idea, like, oh my God, I get it, I'm gonna get in a car and like I'm just gonna die in a car accident. Yeah, like you have a better chance of being hit by an asteroid, right? Or whatever the statistic is that just disproves what you think is going to happen. Healthy people were like, oh, okay, cool. The unhealthy people, well, it didn't matter, right? The researchers then distributed ketamine to the TRD patients and repeated this experiment. They received 3 doses of ketamine within 1 week, but it didn't take even that long to notice a positive change. Just 4 hours after receiving the first dose, patients were able to think much more optimistically. They were less sensitive to upsetting information and had a firmer grasp on receiving new facts in a similar way to the healthy controls. These findings suggested improvement in depressive symptoms among TRD patients after receiving ketamine indicates an association between the greater clinical outcomes and the mechanisms that change the brain, or at least that the brain undergoes. This is a quote from Hugo Badabing, who's the head researcher there. In other words, the more
I thought you said Hugo Bada Bing, and I was like, oh my God, that's the greatest name ever.
Coming to the ring, Dr. Hugo Badabing.
Seriously, someone needs to steal that.
Like a weird Austrian Italian mob gimmick.
If hey, we played that. If anyone from Super Wrestlers is listening,
Yeah.
we need a Dr. Hugo Bada Bing.
Bada Bing.
He's an Italian mobster, but he's also a doctor.
What kind of doctor now? That's the thing.
He's an optometrist.
Or does he have a PhD in something? But he absolutely insists you call him a doctor.
Yes, yeah, it's a doctor in like something that's not like, you're like, come on, you're not really a doctor, but he's like, I got a doctorate, so he has to be called
even worse, an honorary doctorate. Like he got
Dr. Hugo Bada Bing delivers his research results in a velour tracksuit, hums it to the navel.
You know what I'm saying?
You're looking at, I'm picturing a guy that looks like Paulie from The Sopranos.
Yep.
You know?
Hey, just a couple hours after you get that ketamine. You know what I'm saying? 4 hours? 4 hours, people. 4 hours. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, if they need someone to play that character, a flight from Lubbock to Chicago can be done. I will be Dr. Hugo Bada Bing if I have to be.
This might we have it on tape, as they used to say back in the day. Now, Ben,
All right, back tracksuit with a stethoscope.
yes, yes.
He
Maybe
gives you ketamine treatments in the back of a deli.
while we're young, my dad,
Oh,
my
man.
dad with a Caddyshack reference right at you, Ben.
Yes. All right, so back to the story though. I have never personally done ketamine. There's a lot of things I've experimented with. That ain't one of them. Never. I'm not that I wouldn't have had the opportunity arose. I definitely would have. I've just never come across the opportunity to have done it. So I can't speak to the effects of it the same way that I could speak to psilocybin, right? Because I've done mushrooms plenty of times in my youth, and I can tell you exactly how that feels. And so I can't speak to ketamine, although I can speak to the idea that a lot of the psychoactive drugs of the 80s and late 70s and 80s that these hippies were creating, these really smart hippies were creating these different molecules and experimenting with them, and we're using them. And I think what happened is that people were using them to get high, right? And a couple of bad things happened to people on them. And what happened in the late 70s and 80s, especially when it comes to drugs, is a complete overreaction, right? And so the government and parents and law enforcement completely overreacted to these psychoactive drugs. And it took 30 years of peeling away the myths and the bullshit that goes along with these drugs to say they are capable of being used under the supervision of a doctor or psychiatrist. It's not saying, I saw my mom mention a college student died from mixing ketamine and alcohol. We're not, what this is not saying take ketamine at home and you'll feel better. If you're depressed and you'll feel better. It's not how it works. You take it in a controlled environment with a therapist where it allows you to open up and talk about things in a different way and think about things in a different light. It's not just sitting in your room fucked up on ketamine and you're going to come out of that feeling better about yourself.
We've talked about shamanistic experiences with ayahuasca, right?
Mhm.
We've talked about that long before it became a commercial venture, that there was this herbal mixture that, when done properly, introduced a molecule called DMT into your system. There's a ton of research out there by a doctor, a medical doctor. His name is Dr. Rick Straussman. And he's done a ton of work on this molecule called DMT and the possible benefits it has in a clinical setting, let alone the fact that you take it in the right dose and apparently the sky splits like a sheet and you start to see like interdimensional elves that come in and they're like mechanized and they come in and they basically bless you with forgiveness for all of your sins. They heal all of your wounds. And you come back and you're an absolutely changed person because they've given you the forgiveness of the universe and a rebirth. Now,
wow, dude, Ryan Hansen in the comments says he had ayahuasca back in 2005 in Peru. That's the way to fucking do it.
That is the way to do it. Mr. Hansen, did you have to sit in the hut, collect your ingredients and actually make the brew? Because that's a thing. If he did what we were talking about, if he went to this enclave where people were let out, okay, today we're gonna pick all the necessary ingredients for this, and then you spend the next 2 days making it, and then it slow cooks over another day. It's a thing. In a yurt with a shaman. Yeah,
there you go.
and I'd be interested to actually to have you on to talk about that experience. To be honest
That
with
would be
you, I've
great.
never
That'd
met.
be super awesome. Yeah, let's do that. I
Yeah.
would love that.
If you're okay, we can kind of segue away from your personal experience of Mr. Hansen, and we can get you on because I would love to talk to somebody that had an ayahuasca DMT experience because
Hell yeah.
that is a powerful thing, and it's very interesting. There's been a lot of research done as to what that can do clinically as far as reconnecting synapses and recorrecting chemical flows and production of serotonin in the brain. So yeah, here's ketamine, which was once used as a horse tranquilizer, became a club drug, and now all of a sudden has clinical value. Go figure.
Yep. If you open up your mind to it and you get past the bullshit and the myths and the fear mongering, again, we overreacted as a society, and honestly, it probably cost a lot of lives along the way that could have been saved by alternative treatments. People that were that made decisions that you can't come back from, because they didn't have something that they were TRD. They didn't have none of the normal treatments were helping these people. They didn't know what to do, and they made the ultimate decision to basically end it all. How many people could have been saved if we were just more open to these ideas of, not being scared of what are street drugs or psychedelics, and go, well, wait a minute, what's really happening in the brain? Because anybody that's taken any of these drugs will tell you feel better afterwards. You feel better about everything after you've done these psychedelic drugs.
You experience certain truths that can never be fully explained to you. TRD is a treatment-resistant depression, Chris. That was the way. Yeah, TRD is treatment-resistant depression. People who don't respond to the current line of pharmaceuticals in any fashion, the SRIDs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like anybody will tell you, like you were saying, Ben, but it is indescribable. It gets to a certain point where you just sound like a guy who had a drug experience, right? You're like,
yes,
like, man, I was hugging a tree in the middle of an arboretum, and I literally felt the tree like reaching out to me and like checking in on me to make me feel okay. And by all accounts, this person was, climbed up a tree and was sitting in a tree, hugging a tree, but legitimately feeling a oneness with the surrounding nature and the people he was with too, of course. But it informed that person going forward that experience was just as real and just as informing, I guess is the right word, as this experience that we're having right now. Again, what did we say earlier? The brain is what? A sponge full of chemicals and neurons and electrodes.
Oftentimes I think if, societies in the past, there was a ritual that you would go through to become an adult, like a literal ritual that one would have to go through to prove themselves to be an adult, whether it was go out and hunt a buffalo on your own, whatever, you know what I mean? Like there was something that you had to do, a test you had to pass to become an adult. And I wonder what our society would be like is if you had to do an eighth of mushrooms just once before you became an adult, and you had that experience, and then you are like, all right, now you move on with the rest of your, take this knowledge that you just learned in this experience and live the rest of your life with this. How much better off we'd be.
A rite of passage. Yeah, because there's the Native American indigenous person ritual of the sun, where they kind of crucified you and laid you out in front of the sun, and you basically either lived and had these delirious thoughts because you got close to death, or you died. There's but an enlightenment journey.
Yes, we should all have to go through that. Like what if our society had that built into it? Like how different would things be? It would be tremendously different. I have to believe.
I would say, of course, there's terrible experiences, and if you've done enough of these substances enough, you've
course.
had those terrible experiences.
Don't do them at a party.
Yeah, a lot of these things, especially if
I made
it's,
them trust.
especially if it's a natural thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to do mushrooms, if you're going to try something a lot that's well, just mushrooms, right? Don't go to a roller coaster park.
Yeah, don't go where there's a lot of people.
You're gonna have a bad time.
stuff.
You need to have people around you that know what you're doing, that love you, want to take care of you, are willing to talk to you. You need to be in a comfortable setting, or if you're going to be outdoors, you're going to
have some good music.
If you're going to be outdoors and do it, you need to be around nature, because it is a natural thing. Mushrooms grow everywhere. They grow in cow turds, right? There are rules about doing this properly. If you, again, you take a bunch of mushrooms and, I'm going to go alpine skiing, you're in trouble.
Probably not going to have a great time.
You're in trouble.
It's not a party. They're not party drugs. Psychedelics are not party drugs. Really. I mean, LSD, maybe, that might be a little bit more of a party drug. Because, there was, that's where it started was parties where you would go and you would it was dumped into the punch, and everyone would have punch, and then everyone would be just tripping balls and listening to the Grateful Dead play, in the late 60s and early 70s when it first come around. So yeah, man, I psychedelics are fucking cool, and everyone should experience them. And honestly, it's coming whether you like it or not, whether the psychiatric community likes it or not. These drugs are being clinically tested. Psilocybin, ketamine, LSD, all these different psychoactive and then these other molecules that have letters and numbers that you would never understand if you heard them. There are all these different molecules that are offshoots that are being proven to work. We know about the psilocybin. We know about the MDMA treatments for veterans. And helping with depression there.
And that's a synthetic one, right? That's synthetic.
Yes. Correct. There's a lot of synthetic drugs that we are finding out are having medicinal uses that are helping people in dire need of help.
Or nothing else works.
When nothing else works, exactly. If the stuff short of that works, great. But if this stuff works for the people that stuff doesn't work for, and it's coming, it's going to be approved. It's going to be federally approved. Get on board with it. And if you're maybe suffering, start asking your doctor about these types of treatments. They're out there, depending on where you're at. In Illinois, if you're listening to this in Illinois is pretty fucking liberal around there these days.
Getting close. I think Colorado's already made the leap to make
Oregon for sure
made mushrooms legal. Psilocybin mushrooms legal.
Oregon has done that as well. Yep. So there are places if you want it.
It's out there, and they grow real cheap too underneath your sink. Just to let you know, I've never done it, but hey, we like to bring you another positive bulletin of a story that we kind of botched trying to cover live.
Yes, this is one of our greatest failures.
It will hang in the Hall of Shame for sure.
It's right there with the guest who left 20 minutes into the show.
And not even, but in a record time.
It was like
7 minutes and 23 seconds in. It was like, wait, we were like, and what do you think? Wait, what happened? It's still in the archives. We still have the footage, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how much of it is actually aired because we pulled it down after a minor fiasco, which might be detailed later on. And we could probably do an episode on that show. Anyway,
but nevertheless,
we talked about the DART mission, where we were going to come in and shoot an asteroid with a satellite, try to knock it off and nudge its orbit. Guess what, Ben? It worked.
I heard it. It worked. Yeah.
It worked. They were able to, and actually, if you scroll down a little bit, oh no,
No, I know, I
Oh,
know,
no.
but it is Armageddon style, right?
It's
Like,
not even the Ellie moment for the show. So,
oh great,
oh yeah, well, I got something coming for you, pal.
oh great.
This is
Where am I scrolling down
no,
to?
just a picture because this is the Hubble space, the Hubble telescope capturing the moment of impact. That's what it looked like from the Hubble, but they were able to nudge this little asteroid's orbit, and I think they shortened the orbit by like 23 minutes, which doesn't mean much. You're like, okay, it's 23, but they literally shortened the time that thing circled its base by 23 minutes. That's a ton. That is,
Dude, Ryan picks up a good point. Did we fuck it up? Because now it's gonna hit something else that it was never supposed to. Like, what if that throws out what like the butterfly effect really fucks us?
that curiously kind of leads us right into the next video, which I thought at one point this mission was supposed to prevent, but this is not the Ellie.
No,
No, I know. I told you this
Son of a
whole show is
bitch.
full
I'm
of
gonna get yelled
minefields.
at. I already got one. Courtney allowed that last one. She's definitely not gonna allow that.
It's a minefield of extinction events. So
Son
we
of a
could have
bitch.
either prevented our impending doom or maybe caused it. I stumbled across a video that was made by the Discovery Channel that illustrates just what we've been trying to warn everybody about.
Oh shit! All right. Oh, hold on. I gotta. Is there like talking? Because I got to make sure that there's.
I don't think
have
there.
the
I mean,
echoing.
there might be some music, some
Okay,
ominous music.
I don't. I know the echoing is annoying.
That's no moon.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh man.
It's a big son of a gun.
Oh god. Oh man. Yeah, we're done. We're completely fucked. There's no place on this planet that survives.
That this does not touch.
Holy shit.
Just to give you an idea, I think those waves are about 30 miles high.
My anxiety about death is already on fucking 10.
Look at that.
Look, come on. It would just be a slow, like it would hit on one side of the planet and like there'd be able to be like news reports of it happening and coming, and there would be nothing we could do to stop it. Like you would have like the newscasters would be like, ladies and gentlemen, a giant asteroid has hit Asia, and we're fucked. See you later, everybody.
At this point, which is why even bother?
Right. Why even get on television, right?
Just like I was lazy. I was supposed to bring you the 5 o'clock news
on this. How is this not the ELE?
Oh,
you son of a bitch!
Oh, something even more terrifying than a ginormous hole in our planet.
Oh my god! Look at it, just engulfs the planet.
And fire and rage.
No,
I don't want to
watch it again.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that makes sense, right? I think we need to.
Thanks, Twitter.
Speaking of a lot of hot air and hot magma, I think we need to pay a little respect to the victims of Sandy Hook and acknowledge what happened today in a federal court, where Alex Jones was ordered to pay almost $1 billion to pay for the lies he told regarding the Sandy Hook massacre. Now, Alex Jones has been guilty of spreading all kinds of lies about school shootings and mass shootings, ranging from everything that being a false flag event and there being crisis actors, that it never happened. You run the gamut, but what he had basically did is unleashed the hounds of hell on these poor victims who legitimately lost their school-aged children, who suffered all kinds of harassment, all kinds of untold threats. And Jones, well, we've talked about this before, right? So I don't think we need to go into too much more of the damage that Mr. Jones.
No, what I think is interesting is that he was not in the courtroom when it was read. He was on the air at InfoWars.
No.
Basically watching his own trial live on the air.
Was he?
Yes.
Might there be some video of this? That might be the next link. Ladies and gentlemen, this is legitimately what Ben just told you. This is Alex Jones watching as the verdict came down.
Away from freedom.
He's such an asshole.
When we in the group text between the infamous Lockport Joe, Ben, and I, Joe was like, "Hey, this asshole's getting pinned," and it's like,
They want
it's not
to
as
scare
simple.
everybody away from freedom and scare us away from questioning Uvalde and what really happened there, or Parkland or any other event. And guess what? We're not scared, and we're not going away, and we're not going to stop. And literally, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, I can keep them in court for years. I can appeal this stuff. We can stand up against this travesty, against the billions of dollars they want. It's a joke. So please go to InfoWarsStore.com and get Vitamin Mineral Fusion, get X3, get all the great products that are there that keep us on air.
Unbelievable.
Ladies and gentlemen,
they want to scare everybody.
Grifter has to grift.
Federal court lays down a penalty of almost $1 billion upon him for spreading lies about the murder of young children. The man hawks vitamins. That
to help pay for his court costs.
That is commitment, ladies and gentlemen. That is being bought into the gimmick, ladies and gentlemen. That's not letting go of the grift, ladies and gentlemen. But, ladies and gentlemen,
at one point he said, "I'm done saying I'm sorry. I've said I'm sorry enough. I'm done saying I'm sorry." Like, what? No, dude. Like, and even there, he's like, "We can't question Uvalde. We can't question part." Like, what are you going to question about Uvalde? Like, that shit was on camera. Like, we saw it all.
We saw it, dude.
Yeah, with our own eyes, you asshole.
Yes.
Like, man, he is a Hall of Fame carny.
He is a Hall of Fame of carnies.
He's admitted in court for before, and I think this was his divorce proceedings. But he admitted that it's all a gimmick.
Entertainment.
It's all entertainment. You can't take
news
him seriously,
entertainment.
Yeah, unbelievable. He's such a douche.
World class.
Punchable Face Tournament 2022. Alex Jones is definitely in the field.
Get your trigger finger ready, Ben.
We're getting close to March.
We're a long ways
closer.
away.
We're getting closer to March. I mean, like, literally every day, but you're right. We're not really close.
We might not make it if science has its way, Ben, because now get your finger ready and hit that button, because here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Your extinction level event brought to you by Topic Thunder. You ready for this? This is from the BBC. Lab-grown brain cells play video game Pong.
What?
Researchers have grown brain cells in a lab that have learned to play the 1970s tennis-like video game Pong.
Shut up.
They say their mini brain can sense and respond to its environment. Writing in the journal Neuron, Dr. Brett Kagan of the company Cortical Labs, we've had a really good, lucky run of cool lab names. Cortical Labs is one of them, claims to have created the first sentient lab-grown brain in a dish. Other experts describe the work as exciting, but call the brain cells being sentient going too far. Quote, "We could find no better term to describe the device," Dr. Kagan says. "It is able to take in information from an external source, process it, and respond to it in real time." Mini brains were produced in 2013 to study microencephaly.
Whoa. Courtney's onto something here. If they put the mini brains in those fucking robots that we saw last week that were jumping around and fucking backflipping and shit,
we both... Supreme, we both ate and are God, right? That was the whole beauty of the whole thing, right? That was the beauty of the whole thing. He made us in his image, right? Yeah. We're just a reflection of something that's bigger than all of us. So we should recognize it as such and not be such assholes. And maybe not train brain cells in a dish to play video games.
Robots, dude. Those fucking robot dogs that were running around and shit. We put mini brains in those motherfuckers. Oh, we're going to do that. because we're humans and we're dumb and we'll do shit like that.
Oh,
That's gonna happen, and that is where Terminator happened.
People are paid way too much money in the bowels of the Pentagon to have not brought that idea to bear, right? Like, hey, wait, did you see this from Boston Dynamics? Look at this. We saw this video on Topic Thunder, this weird podcast out of Chicago and Texas. And you got this fucking robot that's doing parkour. Wait, there's two of them. Check this stand. Check this video out. Look at this. I'm telling you, Carl, this is the way to go. We put this petri dish full of brain cells that learned how to play Pong. We put it in this weird ass robot that's doing, oh, look, it did a backflip. No, it did a front flip. All right, oh, somersault. Cool. We put it in there, and we have the next generation soldier here to bring America to everywhere else. If I would imagine this almost $1 billion, $1 trillion the Pentagon receives every year. If you weren't thinking that somewhere in a conference room, I would assume you're probably not doing your job right?
Yeah,
I would have thought about it. Hey, speaking of things that aren't getting a lot of press, we talk about this a lot. This is the Russia reference for sure, but this try finding this story somewhere. I encourage you to look this, try to find it, because you haven't heard it anywhere. This is even on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10. You had to dig for it. This is a tip from Aunt Chris. A pro-Russian hacking group claims responsibility for knocking out U.S. airport websites. Anybody hear about this?
Nope. I did because I'm in a group chat with you, but most people did not.
A pro-Russian hacker group is taking credit for temporarily taking down several U.S. airport websites on Monday, though there appeared to be no impact on flight operations.
That's just so we don't freak out.
Yeah,
that's what
they have to tell you, that those aren't mushroom clouds, and if they are, the wind's going to be fine and just take it away. A cyber attack claimed by Killnet impacted websites for Los Angeles, Chicago, and Atlanta. I think
Is Chicago O'Hare a busy airport?
Kinda.
Is that a busy one?
Kinda.
Hmm.
The only one they left
Los
out was
Angeles
basically
International,
Denver, and
Atlanta.
that's like the top 5, right? I mean,
Yeah.
probably like Houston or something, maybe Dallas, Fort Worth or something.
Yeah, I think probably Dallas, Fort Worth. What it's mostly about is connecting flights. A lot of connecting flights connect in those places. So there's tons of flights going in and out of those airports on a daily basis.
The group posted a list of airports on Telegram, urging hackers to participate in what's known as a DDoS attack, a distributed denial of service, where they basically, so when you go to a website, right, you ping the website for their content. This is setting up a repetitive request for that information. So coming from multiple angles, the websites usually fail, the servers fail, and apparently what happened here, the group's call to action included airports across the country, including, this is a hell of a list, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, and Missouri. Texas not on the list. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Hey,
what is your theory? What is your immediate theory?
Governor Abbott, Senator Cruz. I would like to have some.
They're in on it.
Oh, your state was mysteriously. Where's Florida? Oh, Florida is on the list. Never mind.
On there.
All right, never mind. But Texas, yeah, Texas wants to be part of Russia. Actually, the state Duma today in Russia offered consideration for entrance into the Russian Federation for any U.S. states that want to secede. They literally did that on their state, their capital floor. But yeah, nobody really talks about the Russian pro-Russian hacker group. There is no pro-Russian hacker group. You are a Russian-funded hacker group. You are a branch of the Russian military and intelligence apparatus. Not exactly what maybe you came here for, but I know what hits your little sweet spots here, ladies and gentlemen. We've tracked the progress of Fritz the hippo,
Yes, we love Fritz around here.
and we have caught on video. Texas is Russia. Interesting. We have caught on video probably the sweetest interaction, which has been gradual because I guess they can't just throw a baby hippo in with a grown hippo because the grown hippo will just decimate the baby hippo.
Hippos are fascinating and frightening all at the same time.
Here you go, ladies and gentlemen, Fritz and Fiona.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, I'd take Fritz home with me immediately if they could promise me he'd stay there.
And no teeth.
No teeth. Like, he would just gnaw on people.
This gum.
They're just gumming people. Anyone that comes into my house just gets gummed by.
We have to let this entire loop play
Gummed by Fritz.
because
This is the name of his autobiography.
anybody who has a sibling will know the look Fiona gives the camera at the end of the video. Specifically, maybe a younger sibling.
Yeah, we feel you. We feel you, Fiona. Annoyed as shit.
Fiona speaks the truth, ladies and gentlemen. But not to be outdone. Not to be outdone by the cuteness of the hippopotamus or hippopotami. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to award and recognize that this is the show bear.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
We are adopting a bear, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually Fat Bear Week. Who knew? But Tipped in
It will be
Moscow
something that
knew.
we will definitely be fucking following this from now on.
Tipped in Moscow knew, and he sent us this tip. And ladies and gentlemen, a champion has been crowned in the 2022 Fat Bear Week. And it's the second time he has won the award in 3 years. This is a champion, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello to 747.
Look at it. They estimate that they obviously don't know exactly how much he weighs because you're not going to get anywhere near this fucking giant bear. But they estimate that he weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,400 pounds at its peak.
And just so you know, folks, just a reminder, 2,000 pounds is a ton.
Yes. They said, I was reading a story about, because Tipped in Moscow hit us up in our inbox. And so I read this story a little bit before we came on. And they said that he's like the dominant bear in this area. Because what it is there's a certain area where all these bears congregate at a certain time of year to eat salmon and prepare for hibernation, right? And it's so there's bears from all over the fucking forest come to this particular area at this time of year. And this dude right here, 747, is the king of the fucking bears. And they say nobody challenges him, not because he's ferocious or that he has won a number of battles, is that he's so fucking big that the other bears are just like, nope, we're not gonna fuck with him.
It's
Nope,
like Andre the
okay.
Giant, right?
Yep, you're the man. You're the man around here.
If they name you after a plane, if your nickname is after a plane, that's legit.
Yeah, there was some controversy in the voting this year. Apparently, there was I don't know exactly. There was some sort of weird like hacking controversy. Or what would be voting in 2022 without some controversy?
Oh shit, we might have to dive into that because Lord knows there's not an election coming up that might determine the fate of the country that we're going to cover heavily. I don't know.
Fat Bear Week was rocked by a scandal this week as spam bots tried to get in on the action and cast fake votes. The annual competition allows community members to vote for their favorite big bear in Alaska's Katmai National Park. Quote, like bears stuff their face with fish, our ballot box too has been stuffed. The park wrote on its Facebook page. It appears someone has decided to spam the Fat Bear Week poll, but fortunately, it is easy for us to tell which votes are fraudulent. The park said that the fraudulent votes came in for Holly. The park threw out the fake votes and updated the day's totals, advancing Bear 747 to the next round with 37,940 votes. During the semifinal matchup between Holly and Bear 747, the latter was leading for half of the day, said Mike Fitz, a naturalist for Explore.org, one of the content organizers. The fake votes totaled several thousand, he told USA Today. So, yeah, fake bots were trying to influence the Fat Bear Week voting.
It's like they're practicing for something.
Tell me they're not going to fuck with an actual vote that means something.
Jesus Christ. All right. I didn't know that. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is
Not
sacred.
even Fat Bear Week.
Not even
sacred.
Fat Bear Week. We're democracy at risk, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of risks, you know, when you step outside the house, there's always the chance you could be struck by lightning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the #1 segment that my dad now watches. This is the greatest thing ever.
And I like Courtney changing his name to Dad Effin Brooks. That's what we should do.
Dad
We're calling
Effin
him
Brooks.
Dad Effin Brooks.
I'm down with that, and forever shall it be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lightning round, and you're in the Thunder Dome, the world's most dangerous chat room. It's to my left, it's to our go left with that. The lightning bolts are lighting up right now in the chat room, and it is the world's most dangerous chat room. Why? Because in this segment, if you're not familiar, we read 3 headlines. 3 stories walk into the Thunderdome, and only one gets read. That is chosen by you, the people. And ladies and gentlemen, there is no dilly-dally here. We're going to get right to headline number 1. Driver flees Toronto crash, then punches father, drops pants, and attacks officers.
Jesus, that's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on there.
Wow.
Eh? Headline number 2. Woman scammed by Russian astronaut who claimed to need money to return to Earth.
That is somehow worse than the African prince scam. Yeah.
Headline number 3. Woman reportedly throws jug full of urine at boyfriend during downtown Bellingham argument.
Wow. There's
a lot going on in that one.
There is. There's a lot going on in a couple of them.
So, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're not familiar with the segment, welcome aboard. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, joining us for the first time or the 90th time, as this is episode, I believe, 91, we're going to do this one more time as we begin to contabulate your votes. We're going to contabulate. I'm working on, I speak good English.
This was a great question. Who just has a jug of urine on the ready?
First question I had too. I was like, there's a lot going on in that story. Like said, like you just like.
I feel like we need to know more about that.
We don't want to influence the votes. No bias from the show here.
Yeah, let's hear them one more time because this is a close one. See, you can tell because people have not already started voting. You know that the vote is very easy when people start voting after the first round of being read. But now you can see people have to have it read a second time because they have to digest exactly what they heard.
You're not going number 3.
We do have a vote.
Chris, you're going number 1. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, just as you kind of marinate on this subject, we're going to read you the headlines again. Headline number 1. Driver flees Toronto crash, then punches father, drops pants, and attacks officers. It's got smoked. You got to laugh out of that one on the first time, but it got smoked by everything else. Headline number 2. Woman scammed by Russian astronaut who claimed, it'll be cosmonaut, thank you, who claimed to need money to return to Earth.
That one has a couple of votes already, early votes.
And headline number 3. Woman reportedly throws jug full of urine at boyfriend during downtown Bellingham argument.
Ma Jordan going with number 2. So we have 3 votes for number 2, a vote for number 3. Looks like number 2 is probably going to be able to win this unless a major comeback. I haven't seen Billy Whack in the comments. I don't know if he's with us this week, so that might be a vote that normally is in that won't have.
Number 2, Jordan. So we're it's like 4-1 right now. I know Dan
F and Brooks
Dad F and
goes with
Brooks
number 2.
We got the Ryan.
Ryan Hansen going with number 2 as well. He also has his secondary headlines: Florida man in Canada. That's very good because it does sound like a Florida man.
Absolutely.
Nigerian prince needs space flight home, and golden shower.
Oh, the Ryan Hansen remix, ladies and gentlemen. We got
Looks like number 2 is going to win this.
Dan F for Brooks. Dad F for Brooks. Yeah, number 2. We are looking at a victory for number 2. Billy
Whack is on assignment in Russia.
We know. Billy Whack was at that pro wrestling show we went to. Again, told you, big family reunion. But it looks like we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen, and that is headline number 2. Yes.
Yeah, headline number 2 is your winner.
We're looking at 6-1. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, headline number 2. The man claimed he needed money to pay landing fees once on Earth and a rocket to actually fly him home, local media reported. A man claiming to be a Russian cosmonaut in space allegedly scammed a Japanese woman into paying for his return trip to Earth, vowing to marry her once he landed. The man found the 65-year-old unnamed victim on Instagram in June. On his profile, he uploaded random photos of space and said he worked at the International Space Station, where astronauts have limited access to cell service.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it already. Their relationship quickly escalated. How? Online, a Japanese messaging app, he repeatedly said he loved her and proposed marriage. He sent her messages like, "I want to start my life in Japan," saying, "This 1,000 times won't be enough, but I'll keep saying it. I love you." The news outlet TV Asahi reported. But to actually tie the knot, he said he needed money to return to Earth. There were landing fees to pay once in Japan and the cost of a rocket to actually fly to the country, he said. Believing this man would be her future fiance, the woman paid him about 4.4 million yen. Ben, just real before you even see the story, how much do you think 4.4 million yen in his US dollars?
Oh man, I have no idea, but I'm going to guess it's $100,000.
$30,000. 4.4 million yen for 30 grand.
That doesn't make sense.
If that didn't tip you off enough, he asked for it in 5 installments from August 19th through September 5th, the Japanese newspaper reported. But when his demands continued, the woman grew suspicious of the intent and reported him to the police, who are investigating the case as a romance scam, local media reported. And
Biz is so right. Like they would send him into space with no way home.
Right.
Like, come on.
Guys, look, baby, I love you so much right now. You are the most beautiful thing in the world. I'm in space right now, but even space is not as beautiful as you. I want to come and I want to marry you. And I want to be your forever lover. But I need $30,000 to get home because we need to get a rocket. And there's landing fees for the rocket. So I have to cover all of that to get home to marry you.
Otherwise, I'm stuck in space.
And we can make 5 easy payments on these dates.
Oh my God.
Just 5 easy payments of blah, 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 blah gets you a fiance from space. Cosmonaut reference.
Amazing.
Right there. Ladies and gentlemen.
Amazing. You know, that reminds me of like when women fall in love with men in prison.
Right.
Like they were, how does that happen? How does that happen? I don't
It was
get
Alex
it.
Jones.
It was Alex Jones.
That sums it up right there, right? It's come full circle, folks.
This is the entrance music for Dr. Hugo Bada Bing.
Yes, absolutely needs to happen. That'd be freaking hilarious. Even if you just like stroll across like a stage or just
And
walk into
an
the ring,
Adidas jumpsuit with a stethoscope.
just walk into the ring and walk out, and that's it. Nobody needs to know anything else about Dr. Hugo Bada Bing.
I just hope the people at Super Wrestlers are listening.
Dr.
He
Hugo.
does. Yes, he does. He should be eating a chicken parm sandwich as he walks across the stage.
Hey, I got a meatball sandwich here out of my
Hey,
way.
everybody. Hey, I'm Dr.
Is that
Hugo
mustacholi? I
Bada
smell some paisano.
Bing. The results are in. We are writing a character on Topic Thunder. Like, everybody is contributing, and I think we should definitely get this character on.
Crowdsourcing a gimmick.
Ah, there he is.
Yes! Yes!
Billy Whack late to the party. What you've missed, Billy Whack, is that I don't know if you're familiar with the folks over at Super Wrestlers or not, but we have created a character right here tonight on this show, Dr. Hugo Bada Bing. He's an Italian doctor, but he dresses like, imagine, if you will, Paulie from The Sopranos, but he has a stethoscope and he claims to be a doctor, but we don't know exactly what he does for a living, what kind of doctor he is. But we think that he should appear at Super Wrestlers sooner or later. And I will fly from Lubbock to Chicago to portray such a character.
There lies the hook, ladies and gentlemen. A flight is involved. Claims to be.
Claims to be. We don't know. He's a doctor or something.
We posited that it was an honorary PhD from like a community college, but he
Right.
he insists you refer to him as Dr. Hugo Bada Bing.
Hey, everybody!
He doesn't really give you a straight answer. Was that? Wait,
I'm gonna give you your diagnosis.
Yeah, I'm an Italian doctor. It's okay.
You have a cancer.
No.
When he comes out to this music. Oh,
not at all culturally inappropriate. We handle all kinds of stuff like that on the show. Oh, he is way
He's
Italian.
very Italian.
Very Italian.
Dr. Hugo Bada Bing is very Italian.
Yeah, you're not gonna find him at the Olive Garden, that's for sure.
No.
Well, man, get my dad bend over. Okay. All right. This is getting weird. And we're trying to say goodnight and trying to say thank you for joining us on the show. Topic Thunder, I believe 91. We should probably do something special for 100. We might do something. Again, folks, thanks for joining us on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you're joining us on. We appreciate it. The world's most dangerous chat zone. The Thunderdome, alive and well and representing exquisitely.
Cracking me up again
this
tonight.
evening.
You guys got me crying. I have tears in my eyes.
From the USS Rapapa.